Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code RACE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RACE for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code RACE.
Hey, Carrie, we need that tax report by tomorrow. Hey, Bobby, get me that expenses.
For Hari's accounting firm, client growth is exponential.
We're a couple of accountants short.
He needs whip-smart accountants at whiplash speed.
Hey, so why aren't these receivables matching up?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
To show you how easy it is to file a claim with Geico, we hired a nature show host.
In the native habitat of a suburban driveway, the poor victim of a broken windshield is left assessing his vehicle, utterly helpless.
Well, not true. If he's got Geico, he can file a claim online, over the phone, or with his handy mobile app.
But like a lone gazelle, he'll suddenly be left to fend for himself, awaiting his terrible fate.
Nope. Geico will assign him a designated claims team to help him out, too.
So the gazelle gets his car fixed and everything. Wow, nature is so cool.
Geico. Great service without all the drama.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
And just like that, after one of the greatest games we'd ever seen and an overtime victory by the Kansas City Chiefs, is followed up a first half effort that seemed to send them to LA. Then a second half and an overtime that ended their season. The Kansas City Chiefs campaign for the Super Bowl has ended at Arrowhead Stadium as the Cincinnati Bengals are victorious on an overtime field goal, 27-24. My name is Joshua Brisco. I'm here with Beards McFly and Rudy Salazar, and we're going to bring you the full post-game coverage you've come to expect over some better times here as of late, and a game that the Chiefs had almost put away by the time the CBS halftime crew was getting washed out by the Applebee's song, now ends with a calamity of a different sort. Not the audio levels of the halftime show or the national anthem for that matter, but the volume of the second half. In a game where the Chiefs led 21-3, then 21-10, yards away from their end zone, where they could have made it a 24-10 game, or more perfectly, a 28-10 game would have really helped. Not to be. Then in the second half, the Chiefs get the ball out of the gate. They had a chance whenever it went 21-10. They had a chance to make it 35-10 before the Bengals touched the football again. They scored 3 more points in the entirety of the second half. It's hard to make anyone blameless throughout this. I think that the defense bears some responsibility. If you get a diving interception by Nick Bolton on a great play, this game is different. If Chris Jones brings down Joe Burrow instead of letting him escape, that seems a little different. There are places where the defense still, in the AFC Championship Game, no sentence is more synonymous with this team than miscommunication in the secondary. You can spread that out however you need to, from Steve Spagnuolo to Tyrann Mathieu to all of the young guys in that defense who never fully seemed like they were on the same page. I don't know who to point fingers at. But you can look across the defense and find places to lay blame, and I wouldn't blame you for doing that. In the second half, no one played particularly good football for the Chiefs. They sacked Joe Burrow one time behind an offensive line. That's in the second half. One second half sack. Being the only sack of the game against a quarterback behind an offensive line that was brought down 9 times last week. But I'm mentioning the defense. Before you yell at your radio, I mentioned the defense first to tell you that could be the end of our conversation about the Chiefs' defense, at least for a little while, as the Cincinnati Bengals right now at Arrowhead Stadium take the Lamar Hunt Trophy. But man, if there weren't situational errors from this offense every bleeping step of the way. They scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 drives as they made it 21-3. Andy Reid challenged a play that he shouldn't have had to have challenged, but he challenged it after calling a timeout that would have really helped their drive at the end of that half trying to get actual points instead of running a play-action play where they got the angle they wanted on Tyreek Hill, I suppose, but they end up leaving that first half final drive with 0 points. They only scored 3 the rest of the game. 3 more, you may have noticed the game ended in a tie in regulation. 3 more would have really helped. 7 more would have really helped. Another timeout would have helped keep. There was like 20 seconds that went off the clock one of those times on a play on that drive, if memory serves. That was an early mistake that had a first half consequence. We were joking here in the studio that, you know what, it's probably good that won't end up really mattering, but if it does, that's going to hurt. Well, at the end of the half, we went, oh, that ended up really mattering. At least it probably won't matter by the time it's all said and done. Well, it mattered. You get an offense firing on pretty much all cylinders up until that drive in the first half, and then absolutely sputters out in the second. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback currently playing football. Across the sport. If Tom Brady's retired or not, I stand by that. He also had a second half today that we will remember as maybe more than any other half of football that he's played, as him truly struggling in a situation that he should have been better in. Super Bowl last year was gross, but we all saw the rest of the team letting him down there. And there were mistakes, right? The interception batted up into the air is a great play by a defender that doesn't leave me all that terribly hurt. But look at the rest of the first half. I don't know if Travis Kelce should have had that pass off the tips of his fingers. I don't know if on a little flat route out of the backfield, if Clyde Edwards-Helaire should have turned it up or if Mahomes sailed it. They couldn't capitalize on a great play made by L'Jarius Sneed to get them the ball back after a bad time for a 3-and-out. They ended up in this second half, even after that Mahomes pick, when things started looking really scary, with back-to-back 3-and-outs. Their 8th offensive possession. Again, when they got the ball back after giving up that pick, a great play by a defender that doesn't leave me all that beat up, but then a tie game. You find yourself an incompletion, then on 3rd and 3, you get your first of multiple bad sacks taken by Patrick Mahomes. That sack on 3rd and 3, thought this is the time, this is not backseat quarterbacking. That sack on 3rd and 3 takes them out of go range. All of a sudden on 4th and 12, and even I would have thought about punting that one. It was in their own territory, but man, you've got an offense with Patrick Mahomes and all these weapons. I think you could pick up 3 yards. Maybe Andy Reid wouldn't have gone for that one. Well then, tie game right in midfield where punting does you very little good. You have 3rd and 6 again. Clyde runs for 4. Mahomes has that miss with Clyde to the left. I wonder if Jerick McKinnon catches that pass. I wonder if Patrick Mahomes is why he was sailing passes throughout most of the second half. I don't know. You get to 3rd and 3 again, and once again, Patrick Mahomes goes down. Takes you from 3rd and 6 to 4th and 14. Tommy Townsend punts a ball 5 yards deep into the end zone. You get 37 yards of useless field position. You got field position where you needed scores. They do march all the way down with the ball at the end, and they do get into field goal range. And Mahomes almost gives it up again. He takes the sack. And then that's on 2nd and goal. He takes the sack. moves them back to the 9. Some people were commenting that was a good play there. I was not in any hurry for the Chiefs to score right away. In fact, I was actively rooting for them to take some time, and then on third down, you take your best shot, your best play in the book. Whatever plays you couldn't show earlier in the season or earlier in this game because you're trying to save your best work for later on, because you got to trust the coaching in that situation, right? Heard a lot of that. You have a chance there to do something special that the defense cannot prepare for because it's the Bengals defense. Mahomes doesn't just get sacked there. The game almost ends there. He loses the ball. Joe Tooney keeps the season alive, and Harrison Butker comes out and kicks it from 4th and goal on the 26-yard line. Not a phrase you get very often. Take it into overtime. You win the coin toss. Patrick Mahomes has 2 immediate targets and misses to their 5th best pass catcher at most. Goes to Demarcus Robinson twice. Did Demarcus Robinson get targeted at any point in the game before then, by the way? He had 1 target before. 3 targets, no catches for Demarcus Robinson. 2 of them coming at the end, and then Mahomes throws the YOLO ball to Tyreek Hill. It's picked off. They have the ball at midfield. I don't know how much farther Tommy Townsend punt would have gone there. That pick is not the thing I am most frustrated about from this game offensively, but it sure wasn't a good one. You get everything you want out of the gate offensively. And it ends like that. We didn't even talk about this coming into the Bengals game very much here, into this AFC Championship game, that is. We talked about this more ahead of the Steelers playoff game when I was trying to come up with a way the Chiefs could have lost that game. Said in the week leading up, it would have taken some of those things from the offense earlier in the year showing up to really disrupt everything. A couple of drops, a batted ball that turns into an interception. The offense shooting itself in the foot, punting in situations where they shouldn't, losing the ball. And then that is exactly what happens in the second half here tonight. Situational mismanagement early. Andy Reid burns a timeout that they did end up needing, and then you can take issue with the play call, with Patrick Mahomes' throw, with the situational awareness at the end of the first half, but you cannot tell me that was well managed. And then you end up following that with just a bunch of miserable offense that doesn't even vaguely resemble what you put up in your first 3 drives. Here's the other thing. To look back on the Bills game momentarily. After that game, I said, if the Chiefs would have lost there, I think you leave that game with the feeling of brutal loss, terrible spot, but they did it losing to a team playing their best football, and they played pretty much their best football, and the clock ultimately favored the others. But if they were going to lose this game today, that puts a sour taste back in the mouth of every fan watching, because this is how the season ended. And that's exactly what ended up happening. I didn't think it was going to. I felt pretty good about the Chiefs winning this game. They put out the full game offensive performance last week that we knew they could against a better defense. What happened here? What happened? Maybe you're turning to me for the answer to that question. I'm going to do my best. I've brought you a few quick points from where the offense struggled in the second half. We'll talk about it the rest of the week, the rest of the offseason. Tell you what it is, and there's not one clear thing that you can just, turn over an entire position group this offseason. You can't just go, the offensive line didn't hold up. Although, Orlando Brown gets beat badly. At least one of those sacks was him just getting taken to the house. It is a brutal way for this season to end. And in a way that I think is going to take us weeks to figure out where you look first, second, third. What did the Bengals do that the Chiefs weren't prepared for? Why was Patrick Mahomes missing guys high? Why did it feel like the team clammed up with their backs against the wall here after playing the best offensive football we've ever seen in an impossible situation 1 week ago? I do not know. I do not know that answer. What I know is that the second half of this offense is where the majority of this blame belongs. You cannot tell the story of this game without starting with the lion's share of the blame placed on the offense's shoulders in that second half. I haven't seen a game where Patrick Mahomes has taken 3 bad sacks, all relatively close together, losing important field position on your way to punts or longer field goals. And my guess, there were a couple of times at least where you saw the Bengals getting pressure with 3 or 4. I'm sure his options were very limited, and maybe this is finally the payoff of talking about a team that needs more pass-catching options. But in the first half, McCole Hardman looked like the receiver of the future. There's an offense that had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Do you know how many catches Tyreek Hill had in the second half of the game today? Go ahead and I'll give you a second. Go back and think about all of the plays that you remember Tyreek Hill being involved in. How many catches do you remember in the second half? I'll give you a second so you can really think about it and really catch up. Really count them up. The answer is 0. There's a reason you couldn't think of any. None happened. Mahomes was able to go back and back to Travis Kelce because it seems like he's always open. But apparently, those windows did close at various points in the second half. And I don't know if no one else opened up or if Patrick Mahomes didn't see the windows opening up. But something went wrong outside of the frame of the broadcast view tonight. The Chiefs lost in the trenches here too. That's the thing that's really, I think, gonna really grind my gears for a little bit. Is after all of this, you get the rebuilt offensive line. Again, everything looked great in the first half. Everything I'm going to say now is going to be about the team in the second half because we saw 2 different units out there. But the Chiefs pass rush, I said this in our pregame show. So it's not going to be just about getting to Joe Burrow and trying to rattle Joe Burrow. He doesn't rattle easily. Even just hitting him isn't going to be enough. You have to bring him down. You have to punish Joe Burrow. You have to take plays away from him and give them some negative yardage in the process. You have to do that. The Titans did it 9 times last week. They brought him down once. Once. You got a great Melvin Ingram moment. Reminding everyone, oh yes, look at this great move the Chiefs made, a rejuvenation to their defense. Chris Jones got through a couple times. There's several times over the course of the game where we all around here went, oh man, did you see what 95 just did? But it's not good for very much if you can't bring him down. Maybe Frank Clark had been getting double-teamed every snap the last 6 weeks, but that honeymoon didn't last very long. I saw him jogging with Josh Allen last week more often than anything else. Today, I noticed whenever he was offsides because everyone made the same joke all at once, number 55 being offsides in an AFC Championship game. On the Melvin Ingram drive where he did get that sack, Burrow escaped one earlier in the drive, then hit Jamar Chase for 22 yards. I don't know how to quantify any of this any better. The Chiefs' offensive line, again, they had their stretches. There were a couple of plays where Mahomes was back there for 8 seconds. There were other plays where he was literally spinning multiple times in the pocket, escaping it, bouncing back around. And I don't know if every one of those movements was necessary and the offensive line struggled, or, which is a rough look in your biggest game of the year, or if Mahomes was seeing and feeling pressure that wasn't really there. I can't tell you that 20 minutes after the game ends until we get a closer look at it again. But Mahomes was hectic, and he was missing. There were situational mistakes from him and from Andy Reid, and the defense gave them plenty of chances. 27 points in 24 in regulation is not so bad. I think we pretty much all would have signed up for the Bengals get 24 points over the course of 4 quarters, and you get a timely turnover from L'Jarius Sneed. Again, I mentioned the defense at the beginning of the show for the sole purpose of getting it out of the way, because the enormous lion's share of the blame on this gets laid at the feet of the offense. McCole Hardman had a nice game. He's speaking to Podium Live right now from Arrowhead.
Hold on one sec, T. We'll go first to Pete Sweeney. Go, Pete.
Hey, McCole, we're obviously not in the locker room anymore. I just was wondering if you could give a sense of where the team is at right now.
I can't hear nothing. I ain't gonna lie. I can't hear nothing.
McCole, I know we're not in the locker room anymore. I was just wondering if you kind of give a sense of the temperament coming out of that.
The temperament?
Just
the
mood of the team.
I really can't. The mood of the team? I mean, obviously everybody disappointed in what's going on. I mean, I think y'all know what kind of mood we're gonna be in. It's not a happy mood. So we just, disappointed in what we did, what we showed out there, and just something we gotta learn from and just try to, get better on as, coming into next year.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go to Herbie.
Hey, McCole, obviously it seemed like a game of two halves. The offense was clicking in the first half, and then the second half there were some struggles. What do you think happened in that second half against the Bengals defense?
I don't know, man. I just feel like I think we just got to execute better. We got to put points on the board. We can't just be having 3 and outs or, just, putting our defense in bad situations. So we just got to execute on the offensive standpoint. I mean, we scored 3 points total in the second half. So I think that's on us to, just to be better in certain situations and key situations and, getting the ball down the field and getting first downs and, trying to get some points on the board. So kind of didn't do that in the second half.
So next to Todd Lebo. Go, Todd.
Hey, McCole, it seemed like everything was going perfectly in the first half, right? It's 21-3. Did you guys feel like you had already won the game a little bit? Was there any letdown at all? Or did you feel like this, I mean, obviously you felt like you're going to win the game, but it didn't feel like you guys had already kind of made it when the league was where it was?
No, we didn't. We know they're a good football team, and we know we had to, score some more. We know we had to put more points on the board. But obviously, we couldn't do that in the second half. But we never had no letdown. We wanted to keep scoring, we wanted to keep putting points on the board, and try to put the game away. But it's something we just couldn't do in the second half.
Next to Harold Coombs. Go to Harold.
Cole, what specifically was it from a defensive standpoint that you saw differently that the Bengals did? Was it something they did with their, safeties or anything that you just saw out there that was like, okay, that's a lot different from the first half to second?
I don't think they did anything different, honestly. I think they might switch up some little calls or switch up some little things to certain formations, but I think they stick with their game plan. I think they were just making better plays than we was, and so I think this was that. But they came out and played a great game. I mean, we can't do nothing but tip our hats to them and just put the blame on ourselves.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
McCole, I have 2 questions for you. Just what was the feeling like going into the locker room at halftime, knowing you guys could have maybe been up 28-3, instead it was 21-3? Just what was that feeling like? And Brad will have a second.
I mean, just we get the ball back and let's go out. Let's try to score. Let's put some pressure on them and let's go out there and just try to execute. So I mean, we was all good moves and but we knew what we had to do. We knew the game wasn't over. So we were just trying to do things like that. But we'll see how that went.
Yeah. you guys have been known for comebacks throughout your time with the team. I guess how surprising or frustrating is it that the Bengals in 2 games this season have come back and beat you guys in this manner?
I can't hear him. What'd you say?
You guys have been known for comebacks throughout your time with the team. Just how disappointing or frustrating is it that the Bengals in 2 games this season have beat you guys in a comeback fashion?
Like I said, you gotta tip your hat to them, man. They came out and they played well. We gotta put our blame ourselves for not executing like we should. But hats off to them. They played a hell of a game. So
We'll last to Jory Epstein. Go ahead, Jory.
Nicole, how would you describe Patrick Mahomes' demeanor in the second half, and when things weren't working as well in the passing game? What did y'all try and do to help him?
I didn't hear. Say it again. I'm sorry. You said
How
something
would
about
you
Patrick.
How would you describe Patrick's demeanor in the second half, and when the passing game was not working as well? How did y'all try and help him?
Just stay motivated, man. We're just trying to be there for him and try to get open for him, try to make things easier for him. So it showed a couple different looks. But I mean, overall, we just gotta execute. That's what it comes down to. We just gotta execute. We gotta make the plays when the ball coming our way, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But no, I think he was good. I think he was fine. I think it just we gotta get open. Give him a chance to see our jersey and give him a chance to give us the ball. So. But other than that, I think it is what it was.
Nicole, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
There's Mecole Hardman live here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, live from Arrowhead Stadium. Tyrann Mathieu will be next at the podium. Lots of reports of him being really frustrated early in the game. Again, you get the issues in the secondary. We'll hear what the Chiefs safety has to say.
First, Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Tyrann. Can you give us a sense for what the locker room's like right now, and if you had any conversations with people just as being as one of the leaders in that room?
I mean, obviously, deflated, be a good word to describe it. Obviously it's been a blessing. I've been in this league 9 years, and, not all the time do you have a chance to play for championships and, play for Super Bowls, to hang banners, to make the city proud. And, obviously we, fell short today, but, it's a lot of good to look back on. We won a lot of football games. Obviously, the last 2 losses, that we've had in the playoffs, it hasn't really been our standard, and but I'm proud, of the way we continue to fight, throughout the season. I'm proud of the way we stuck together. I'm proud of our coaches, in the way that they continue to, take bullets for us. You know what I mean? So, it's a lot of good, to think about. Obviously, I'm grateful, for the opportunity. But I think anytime you come up short, and you could be better, it's obviously deflating.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Tyrann, I know you weren't involved with pass rush much, but I was wondering about Joe Burrow. I mean, you guys have played against him twice now. He's been kind of he's not a real mobile guy, but a little bit elusive. Is he more difficult to bring down than maybe you would think?
Well, I think he's a smart quarterback. And I think obviously, he's not geared to run around. He's not geared to, get 60, 70 rushing yards a game. But I think, he's a smart player. He's a smart quarterback. And I think, within certain schemes or certain coverages, there is a window, for the quarterback to run the ball. And, hats off to him. Obviously, this kid studies a lot of tape, and, he has the instincts to go with it as well. And, he made a couple, third down, scrambles today that, kind of lifted their team, and I think for us, anytime you can get off the field when it's 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and long, you just gotta dig deep and try your best to just get off the field. But, just felt like those guys made a little bit more plays, than us today.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go to Pete.
Tyrann, I apologize for how abrupt this question comes, but we're not sure when we'll get you again. Just how eager are you to just remain with the Kansas City Chiefs? I know we haven't talked about that in a while, but just continuing your time here in Kansas City.
I mean, I hope so. ever since I came here, I've just tried to be the right kind of teammate. I've tried to play my part, and obviously, it's always that feeling that you can make more plays for your team, but I'm hoping it works out. I don't have any control over that. I feel like everything that was in my control, I tried my best to handle it and to do it with a smile. So I love this team. I love this locker room. It's a lot of coaches that I have great relationships with, and so I'm hoping, yeah.
The last two, we'll go Todd Lebo and then Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd. Lebo.
Hey, Tyron, the standard you guys have set here has been incredible the last couple of years, making the Super Bowl and all that, and losing at overtime at home in the AFC Championship. There's no shame in that. But how do you characterize this season? I mean, do you call it a failure if you didn't make it to the Super Bowl?
I think, the immature, person in me will probably say, we failed. I think the bigger person in me, realized that, these things aren't always possible, and, for us to start the season the way we did and, for us to kind of claw our way back out of last place, put ourselves in first place, give this city, home games where, they can come out and be a factor. I'm more so just proud of, the guys that I work with, the coaches that I work with. And so for me, that's kind of, sort of gratefulness comes into play. You just have to be grateful for certain experiences, certain challenges, things that, can bring out the best in you, in the future to come. So, we got a lot of motivation, and, I know it's a lot of guys in that locker room that, they're going to take this off season personal, to really get better, because we do feel like we're still the best team, in the NFL, but, the best team doesn't always win. It's the team that, plays well and makes the plays, that day, so I'm just extremely proud to come to work with these guys.
The last to Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Tyron, I just was curious, how frustrating was the second half? Because in some ways it seemed like a mirror image of the game, Week 17 game at Cincinnati, where you guys raced out to a big lead, and then, late in the second quarter, and it kind of starts to slip away. Were you guys getting frustrated, and did that previous matchup seep into your mind at all?
No, I think every game is different. Obviously it was, some motions and, certain moves of the game kind of, made it feel like, Week 17, but I think every week is different. I thought we came out today. I thought we played up to our standard. Obviously in the second half, credit to those guys. They made more plays than us, and you can't always control, what the other team is going to do. But obviously there was a lot of plays out there today that, we all feel like, we could have been better, or we left out there. So, I think more importantly, you just have to continue to dig deep. This is another great challenge, for this team, for this organization to, continue to push forward, and to continue to represent the AFC, to continue to represent this division, and I know that they can do that.
Tyron, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
There's a very emotional Tyrann Mathieu at the podium there, and I guess theoretically could be his last press conference as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. You heard that in the question asked him about his future. He is an unrestricted free agent after the league year ends, and we will have to wait and see what the Chiefs defense looks like for the 2022 season. But it did its job over the course of this game here today. The Chiefs offense did not. That is the start of our locker room report here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
We will continue on here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. I'm Joshua Brisco. Beards McFly on the other side of the glass. Rudy Salazar producing around the building. I know we got some calls to get to as well. We'll start picking those up as soon as we have a brief time to. But in the meantime, it is Bengals 27, Chiefs 24 as the final score as the Chiefs season ends. The Postgame Show is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra dollar, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery, play responsibly. It's also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team score is your percent off. They scored 24 points, so you get 24% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, because life is better with the feather. We'll come back, talk a little bit more about Chiefs and Bengals as the Chiefs season falls short by a game and by a couple of weeks. Once again, for the first time in 3 years, they will not be heading to the Super Bowl. Instead, their season ends in the AFC Championship Game.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Wealth-changing question. Is your financial advisor giving you incomplete advice? At Creative Planning, our in-house wealth managers, accountants, and estate attorneys work together, so you can be confident all the elements of your financial plan, investments, taxes, and estate are working harder together. All the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sportszone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Over 35 years ago, Wholesale Batteries opened their doors and sold their first battery. Times have changed, but their commitment to customer service is the same. The commitment they made back in 1977 stays true today. Wholesale Battery is one of the largest distributors of motorcycle batteries in the country. Stop in for anything you need for your motorcycle. They also have you taken care of for all your lawnmower needs, laptops, ATVs, power sports, computer backups, cell phones, portable electronics. When it comes to batteries, these guys have it all. Call 913-342-0113 or at wholesalebatteries.net. The right battery the first time.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet of St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Premier Mazda of Kansas City, where the price you see is the price you pay. Come take advantage of rates as low as 0.9% APR on all remaining 2021 and all new 2022 Mazdas at Premier Mazda of Kansas City, your local source for amazing deals on your favorite vehicles. Premier Mazda is the #1 Mazda dealer in KC. Just ask for Sean Weiss and tell him Sports Radio 810 sent you. Premier Mazda of Kansas City, home of the Premier Promise. Right past State Line and 135th or at PremierMazdaKC.com. See dealer for details.
Add a stylish look to your bathroom with help from Menards. Max has more than 1,000 bathtubs, shower kits, and shower doors to add luxury to your life. Our selection of Hannah shower kits come in finishes like brushed nickel, chrome, dark bronze, and matte black, and are designed with clean, modern lines, chic hardware, and a reversible configuration for left or right installation. Save big money with Max bathroom products. Now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles' Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles' Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. come on into Joslin, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the Big High B. Joslin's Jewelry. We're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Joslin's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
When you need a battery, it's Wholesale Batteries. Since 1977, Wholesale Batteries is one of the largest full-line battery suppliers in the Midwest, serving commercial, industrial, OEM, and retail customers. Call 913-342-0113. Wholesale Batteries, we give you the power.
Running right to the 20, back to the left 10, 5, touchdown!
Super Bowl 56 is coming to America's largest all-sports radio station. Sports Radio 810. WHB.
High snap, put down, kick is up, and the kick is good! He got it!
Follow all the action right here on your home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Mahomes fake the handoff, looks, has time, flush to his right. Mahomes darts one, back of the end zone. It is caught! Touchdown! What a grab! Tyreek Hill on a dart from Mahomes. Kansas City strikes first. Deep right corner.
Remembering the better times, that is our sweet play of the game, brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Andy's Cookie Casanova Jackhammer is back just for the new year. Hurry in for hot fudge, warm cookies, and frozen custard. Andy's Frozen Custard, we know where you got that grin. Back to Arrowhead here for Frank Clark.
Seemed like you guys got pressure on Joe Burrow at times, but it was hard to actually get him to the ground. Can you just talk about how slippery he was and how you thought the pass rush performed today?
Great quarterback who executed on every cylinder to get his team to the Super Bowl.
Let's go next to Todd Lebo. But
Frank, obviously you guys set a very high standard here going to the Super Bowls and all that. You fell a little bit short this year. Emotionally, how are you guys doing right now? And how would you characterize what this season is? I mean, you can't call it a failure if you make the AFC Championship game, but you didn't get where you wanted to go.
I mean, adversity, people go through that, you know what I'm saying? I've been going through it my whole life. I can only, picture what a lot of these other guys have been through and, the things they've had to overcome, obstacles and stuff like that. So, long season, man. We started the season off kind of rocky, I'm sure, a lot of people had counted us out at that point. So to be able to get to this point and, revamp back up and get our season back on the right track, playing some great football, that was a great highlight. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to finish. The end goal is the end goal, which is the Super Bowl, and give us some things to go back in, over the summer and over the spring, and to look at, execute, so we can get out there and put ourselves in a better position next year.
Go next to Harold Kuntz. Go to Harold.
Frank, you go into the halftime locker room about 21-3, but then obviously the second half, things kind of fell apart. What was the kind of mentality on the sideline there? And what was the mood as things started to just slowly go not the way you wanted it to go?
I mean, it's football, you playing enough football games, you see it happen, multiple times. So sometimes, you can be the vet from that point, and helping guys understand, I've seen this before. I've been in this situation, we got to keep our foot on their necks and just stay adamant about, just finishing the game. And, unfortunately, it just didn't go our way. Things been going our way, all season and, timing and just different little things. And, it just didn't go our way. You watch, the offense, they come out there, they start the game off every drive, they scoring, they driving down, they just putting us in great position. And, at a point, they went in at halftime, they made the necessary adjustments that they need to make. And, hats off to their coaching staff. That's all coaching. The players, they decided that they wanted to go out there and compete this, for the next 30 minutes of the game. And that's what they did. It's not a shade to them in no type of way. The best team, and the best team and the smartest team all around won today. And that was the Cincinnati Bengals.
Take two more. We'll go Adam and then Matt. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Frank, Super Bowl is all you know since you've been here. So just wondering, now that you guys didn't quite get there this year, how are you going to remember this season? And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
Man, just adverse. It's been a long season. Like I was just saying, just adverse, and I'm gonna remember the guys more than the season. It's really the guys in the locker room who I always remember. The long time. You invest so much time, at the building, and with these guys, you find some great friends in this game as well. And it's the guys, the relationships I built within the lines and stuff like that I'm never gonna forget about it. Like you said, all I know is the Super Bowl since I've been here. So, exiting in the AFC Championship, I mean, to some standard, that's bad, but I mean, it's not as bad as some of the other guys. I got a lot of friends that have been on vacation for a few weeks now, man. So, it sucks. I got to go join them now, but hats off. Like I said, hats off to Cincinnati and everything they did up there. But we just got to be able to compete, man, do better.
Yeah, and you were asked about Joe Burrow earlier. So what's it like to try to get him on the ground?
I mean, tough. He's tough. Athletic guy. Can make all the throws and has poise. That's the one thing people don't speak about. They talk about the first round. They talk about how he's won at LSU, how he's continued to win in the NFL. How he's gotten better every game basically. And you just watch a quarterback like him, and he goes out and he's so poised. The guy can get sacked. Last week he got sacked 8 or 9 times or something, and he goes out and wins the game. Even when we played him the first game around, we sacked him about 4 times. Some good hits, and he stands back up, calls the play, go wins the game. And like I said, just hats off to him, man. Young guy, great quarterback. And I said it before, he's going to win a lot of football games in this league.
Last one to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Frank, I understand at a time like this, the last thing you probably want to think about is the future, but football is a business. And what's your confidence that you'll be sticking with this team and you'll be around next year? And how much do you want to stay in Kansas City?
Man, Kansas City is home. Kansas City is home. I got I bought a house here. My daughter goes to school and stuff like that here. It's home, man. So, I want to be here for the future, for the rest of my career. But like you said, unfortunately, the way business goes, things don't happen the way you want them to happen all the time. But off season, got a lot of stuff to do, man. Season just in the off season. That's what the off season is for. I got to do, talk to the guys. I'm sure y'all be seeing it in the media and stuff like that, what's going on. So, it ain't gonna be hard to, keep up with me. They're always trying to keep up with me anyway.
Frank, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
There's Frank Clark. I said this to Tyrann Mathieu. It could be his last press conference as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's possible. He's not a free agent after this year, but his contract is a beefy one. And that's why you hear the question there from our friend Matt Derrick, who we'll talk to later on tonight here as well. Kind of annoying might be the wrong word. I don't know. It's just not a great look for him to make note of the fact that Burrow got brought down, as he says, 8 or 9 times last week. They got home once today. And look, this is me getting really close to maybe the closest you will hear me get to Mad Dog Russo radio, okay? If you're a regular listener to this show, you understand I don't like to just go box scores. I don't like to just say, sacks or nothing. Pressure can disrupt a quarterback. Hits can wear on a quarterback. They do have value in and of themselves. But a number of times tonight, the Chiefs got near Joe Burrow, and then he got away and made an incredible play. Patrick Mahomes has been doing that to other teams forever. You have to finish the play. And this entire pass rush, again, disruptive, and maybe we'll look back on a second rewatch of this game and see that the pass rush actually did bring something unique to the table. They did not stop Joe Burrow often enough. Again, this game lays at the feet of the offense for my money, and that's going to be what we remember from this one. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes a little bit later on, but let's take a handful of calls here. People have been waiting on hold for a while, and Gary, you get to bat lead off here, sir. No better way to end the season letting you hit first. What's up, Gary?
Well, you can't overcome the stupidity of your quarterback tonight when he's doing what he's doing. He has time. He's just running around, throw the ball away. That's all you got to do. Just throw the ball away. Throw it out the end zone. Throw it to the sideline. Just throw it away. Not him. He's got to run around, look stupid. That play at the end of the half, he was trying to call a timeout after Tyreek Hill caught the ball. Doesn't he look up at the scoreboard where you can see a number of timeouts you have left? Stupidity. The RPO on the interception. Stupidity. What was he thinking on that? I don't think he was. I mean, that drive there at the end of the half is what did him in. He was done after that. He checked out. He was done. And defensively, no-show Chris Jones, great job again today in the playoffs. 11 career playoff games, 0 sacks in the playoffs. Had he gone low on Burrow instead of trying to grab him by the top of his jersey, he may have brought him down, but we can't do that because that's tough. The Honey Badger, I don't know if he was there today or not. Never heard a thing from him because he was the one that was supposed to clamp things down back there and shut everything down. Didn't work. Let's see. The minnow, Frank Clark, non-existent. Didn't see anything out of him. Didn't do anything. Changed the course of the game. The team strength of that defensive line, they no-showed. And, and the one guy who really better fall on the sword on this is Spagnuolo better lose his job. You can talk about the offense. The defense was given 21-3. They didn't hold it. Spagnuolo, you're never out of a game against the Spagnuolo defense. If Andy's not going to kick into the curb, Clark needs to kick into the curb because his defense is horrible. We finished in the bottom 5 in the league the last 2 years. What were we, 18th and 19th? So we weren't exactly top half of the league then. You're not getting better with this guy defensively. And at corner, it's time to get bigger, faster, and stronger on the corner. Rashad Fenton, we're as short at corner as we are at wide receiver. It's time to get taller and physical on both those sides too, because I'd like to have where Mahomes could put a ball up there and a guy could go up and get a stab and have him hit him in the numbers while he's in stride or that. But, you can put this loss on 3 people, Mahomes, Reid, and Spagnuolo. And Reid gets 2 counts of the blame. 1, because it's hard to coach like you've got a pair when you probably haven't seen him in years. And secondly, he hired Spagnuolo. That's his buddy. So if he's not man enough to kick him to the curb, let's hope Clark is. I'll hang up on this. Great show, guys.
I appreciate it, Gary. I had a couple things that you can't end on. Okay. All right. Thank you for listening, Gary. Look, here a couple of things. There's a ton of stuff there that I think is very fair game that you can't. Chris Jones and Frank Clark did not do enough tonight. Tyrann Mathieu did not magically wave a wand over the secondary and fix its issues. This team does probably need to continue to do something with its cornerback group that's not just, sign Damon Arnett and then have 2 weeks there for your investment plan. They need to do more than that at the cornerback position. That's certainly true as well. Patrick Mahomes played bad football in the second half today. That is unquestionable to me. I don't think you can say he was stupid or had been stupid all night or he makes mistakes like this all the time. That drive at the end of the game was bad. Mahomes calling for a timeout there. Here, I saw that as well at the end of the game. Either Mahomes thought that they had a timeout because Andy Reid threw a challenge flag before calling a timeout. That was a mistake of Andy Reid's there, to be clear, when they challenged for the spot earlier in the game. Or Patrick Mahomes hoped that a ref would mistakenly blow a whistle when he saw them call a timeout. You're not going to get an unsportsmanlike for calling a timeout that isn't there with 0 seconds left on the clock. So that doesn't really stick with me as anything to be terribly worried about. But he was missing. I mean, that's certainly true. I would love to see this offense have another weapon that you could trust on the outside and see occasionally get one of those sideline jump balls that Joe Burrow has feasted on by being able to bring to Jamar Chase. Could I interest you in T. Higgins, by the way? I still can't remember if he and Michael Pittman went 33-34 or 34-33 respectively. Those are the 2 picks immediately after the Chiefs did draft the running back on their roster, who is clearly not the best one currently playing at the end of 2 years. If you want me to get snarky, you could start by asking me what this offense would look like with T. Higgins on it instead of a running back that does not make the offense better than the guy they pulled off of the scrap heap. That I could get sassy there about it. In fact, I may have just now. We'll see. Unnecessary shot for Clyde Edwards-Helaire to get a stray there. Not his fault tonight, but, frustrating. I don't really want to watch this defense do another rebuild, and maybe that's a bad reason to keep Steve Spagnuolo around. I don't really want to spend an offseason talking about if, how they're going to build for some other scheme. Are there better coordinators out there? Seems possible. Are you going to make a major turnover personnel-wise to get younger and faster in a few key spots? You should probably do that. If you're going to do that anyway, would it make sense to find a coordinator that would use those guys a little earlier on than Spags would? Maybe. I'm open. I am open to having a big-picture conversation about the defense. It wasn't the defense's fault tonight, though. That's the other thing that does sort of catch me a little bit. Are we talking about firing Spags and retooling the entire defense right now? Look, and again, Frank Clark's contract is huge, and I don't know that Tyrann Mathieu can be worth the money they'd have to give him. Not even for one more year, but if we're talking about him signing another 3 or 4 year deal, right? Like, I don't know. That's an off-season conversation. That's not about how Tyrann Mathieu is playing right now or would play next year. It's more about how would he play in 2 or 3. I don't know if Frank Clark can. You heard him say Kansas City is home, right? Like, the issue isn't if he's good at football right now or not. It's the fact that his cap hit next year is tremendous. If you're going to have that overhaul and you want to go ahead and uproot it and also change coordinators, I'd be open. But again, this game was lost because you did get a genuinely poor performance from Patrick Mahomes. I don't think it's fair to say that he checked out after the first half. I think you can say he wasn't good after that point. I think it's dangerous to assume people's, motivations and the inner workings of their brain. It was also miserable, though. So I understand. Everybody gets a little bit of leeway for being extra miserable today because that was a miserable way for your season to end. Jay Lizzle's up next. Jay, appreciate you waiting on hold. What's up?
Hey, what is going on, man? I don't even know what to say. I will say this. Man, this really hurt.
Yeah?
This is what I will say, though, real quickly. I ain't going to keep y'all for too long. I do kind of hate when the Chiefs fan base automatically starts thinking we're going to win. Because we kind of forget sometimes about our history.
Mm-hmm.
The Titans, the Colts. I think that happened twice with the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And now this situation. I would rather lose. But not like that. That was the worst.
Yeah.
That was the worst. Few blames. Andy Reid at the end, going into the second half, before him taking those points. He should have just went for the field goal before the half, right before the half. And then I got to put it on Pat, because I don't know if the Italian mob called him and said, hey, man, we're going to break your legs if you score or whatever, because he sure did not. I have never seen him do that. That was probably the worst half he's ever done since he's been here. So that's it, man. Well, I guess I'll talk to y'all next year.
Jay, I'll look forward to it, man. I appreciate you you sharing your thoughts. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. Have a good day now.
You too. I don't have any problem telling you whenever I think it's on Patrick Mahomes, at least in part, because Patrick Mahomes can handle it, right? Like, this isn't some, like, fragile backup in a bad spot or some guy who hasn't done it in a big stage before. He's not a college kid. He's not old. But Patrick Mahomes has been Patrick Mahomes for a while now. We haven't gotten to his press conference here. We'll get there soon. He will know that this lands on his shoulders as much as just about any of the Chiefs' losses have. Titans game earlier this year might have been the worst performance between the two, but I think those are your two leaders in the clubhouse for bad Patrick Mahomes performances. And this one came after a really great start. They were up 21-3. We're going to get 21-3 memes. It was a legitimate collapse, a genuine breakdown. And if that's why you're hurt, if that's why you are speechless tonight, I get it. I do, man. That's why I say if they would have lost last week with a couple of teams putting out their absolute best football and you just have heavyweight punch after heavyweight punch and the Bills score on their first time touching the ball in overtime, we could talk about the Chiefs defense letting them down there, but at least you had your two Pacific Rim Jaegers or whatever they're called fighting each other, just exchanging body blows. Today they had a 21-3 lead in 2 possessions in a row. Did not score on either of them. Lost in overtime. Brock is up next. Brock, thanks for waiting on hold. What's up?
Hey, Josh. So first thing I want to say, where's this loss rank in all-time Chief playoff losses? And my second point, Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Probably had one of the worst games of his career, right through his hands in this game a few times, and even times throughout the playoffs. And this year, really, Tyreek Hill just really kind of has, I wouldn't say a down year, but not his best when it comes to crunch time in games. I mean, this kind of goes back from the Super Bowl loss to last year where the Chiefs do not have a third wide receiver they can go to. And I just think today it showed. I mean, just too many drops that can't happen. And, again, it was just one of those games in order for Cincinnati to win. Everything had to go their way perfectly, and it did. It's just a trend with Chiefs playoff losses. I don't know where it ends. It just can't happen. And, you know, this road to the Super Bowl was just paved for the Chiefs this year. I mean, there was no Brady, no Rodgers in the way. You know, they got some help with the Bengals knocking off the number 1 seed, got home field advantage. I mean, it was there for the taking, and it was just painful. And, you know, it's just not going to get any easier either. I mean, the AFC's getting better. Josh Allen's getting better. Joe Burrow's getting better. Justin Herbert's getting better. And Rodgers may likely be in the AFC next year. So, I mean, where do the Chiefs go from here? What needs to happen, or what needs to change, and what needs to happen going forward?
Good questions, Brock. I appreciate them. The issue is that I don't know that I'm going to have great answers, but I'll do my best. I appreciate the call. One thing is the idea that these playoffs were there for the taking. They got through their best opponent. The Bills were the best team they were going to face along this stretch, I think. They beat them. They got beat by Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, and Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Does anyone know where he was drafted? Sorry. And their next step would have either been beating Matthew Stafford or Jimmy Garoppolo again. That should probably sting. I think we're probably going to watch the Super Bowl and go, man, the Chiefs should have beaten both of these teams. They should have. That's right. In terms of where do they go from here, what do you change? I mean, they still need another receiver. There were reports coming out this week that they were going to be in on the Odell Beckham Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster sweepstakes. They should have done something different at that position this last offseason. That's not me being retroactive. If you listen to any Almost Entirely Sports at all last year, like, you would know. They probably should have done a little more to get OBJ here. Maybe they couldn't have. I don't know. They should have probably spent a couple more $1 million to get Juju here. Maybe he wanted to really stay in Pittsburgh. He took a little less money to stay in Pittsburgh. Maybe there would have been a number. Maybe not. They drafted Cornell Powell. He's on the practice squad. They should have used an earlier draft pick. They should have made these plans. I mean, they should. This is going to sound like I'm doing a bit again, but they should have drafted T. Higgins or Michael Pittman instead of drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. These last 2 seasons, you have seen them need help at receiver. A younger one last year could have developed slowly behind Sammy Watkins. This year, you could have seen that guy take a step like Higgins and Michael Pittman both did. That's having some foresight in your team building instead of taking a luxury pick of a player that statistically was going to have an incredibly hard time making their mark on this team. That is the cost of a draft pick like that. They're gonna have to extend Orlando Brown Jr. He's sort of essentially their most recent first-round draft pick. And if you don't re-up him, he's not perfect. He lost a bad rep tonight. But if you don't lock him down, you have now lost your left tackle again. You got to make a decision about Tyrann Mathieu. But yeah, I mean, I would double down on pass catchers for Patrick Mahomes forever. His first 2 pass attempts in overtime went to Demarcus Robinson. I would never let that happen again. Byron Pringle was very quiet today. He's a nice piece. Mecole Hardman had some great plays that looked like they were for him. I love having Mecole Hardman in that role. They drafted Noah Gray. He wasn't impactful this year. Again, Cornell Powell not impactful this year. I'm not even faulting the Chiefs for not getting a ton of impact from rookies at those spots. Obviously, their rookies on the offensive line have been huge. And getting pass catchers in Andy Reid's offense to work in 1 year is really tough. It's why they should have invested in that position even earlier, in my opinion. But I think that's where I go now because the defense is going to look very different, and the amount of differentiation from last year from I guess this year to next year is going to depend on what they do with Tyrann Mathieu. What are they going to do with Charvarius Ward? I don't know. We don't know what they're going to do with Steve Spagnuolo. I think it would be unfortunate for him to be fired off the back of this game when this was not the defense's fault, but also, could the defense be better? I think it could. They're in a difficult spot. Next up, we'll go to Jack. Jack, appreciate you waiting as well. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good afternoon, Josh. I want to get your feedback. I got some numbers I broke down here. Let me first very quickly say, leave it to Gary to never let the facts get in the way. And Gary calling someone stupid, what he doesn't realize, he's both the pot and kettle in that conversation. But here's what I have for you to break down, because I want to be objective here.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're all emotional, but I want to be objective. I don't believe we win a Super Bowl 2 seasons ago without Andy Reid. So I want to preface my numbers I'm going to give you. I don't believe we win the Super Bowl without him.
Mm-hmm.
And that holds very high regard in this city after half a century. So I want to be fair. I don't believe we win the Super Bowl without him.
I would agree.
With that said, and one does not disregard the other. With that said, I have him down as with a playoff record, Andy Reid, of 19-16, which is admirable. It's tough to win in the playoffs. Anytime you can win more than you lose, that's admirable. However, I have him down in the AFC and NFC Championship games as 3-6. I have him down in the Super Bowl as 1-2. I have him down, therefore, in the championship games and Super Bowls at 4-8. So we go from a regular season winning percentage of .633, which, understandable, you're not playing playoff teams all the time in the regular season.
Sure.
But then it dips in the playoff at .543. In the aggregate, that's admirable. But this is my question, Josh. I mean, I think some guys get into the big games and they win them more than they lose them, and then some guys have to throw numbers at it. And I think we have enough of a body of work here to say that Andy Reid is a guy who, when it comes to the big game, he has to throw a lot of numbers at it. He has to do it in volume because he's 4-8, which is .333, and I think there's enough body work to say that. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I think he's one of the best coaches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm dealing with reality here. 4-8 in the championship games and Super Bowls, and I just think that's something we have to consider. And you know, hey, I think they come back. I don't think he's leaving, and I don't want him to leave. I think over the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to throw more numbers at it, and maybe we get one. But I think that's what we're looking at with Andy Reid, and I want to get your feedback. Thanks, Josh. Have a good day, man.
I appreciate that, Jack. Here's a couple things off the top of my head, because I think that is a reasonable thing to float out there. Couple of quick things. I just pulled up Mike Tomlin's postseason record just for kicks. He's 8-9, right? The nature of a playoff bracket is going to be that teams are getting eliminated, and so it gets harder and harder to keep winning over the course of those games. And so I would expect that most coaches not named Belichick are going to have numbers that are ultimately unflattering. And also, simply having Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in this league over these last 20 years has been a statistical anomaly that other teams have been thrown offline for. I'm trying to find some of the numbers that I just wanted to put up alongside Andy Reid to try to put that into a context that makes some sense. Just in like things like winning percentage, right? On the overall of the playoffs, that puts Andy Reid with before today, the third highest winning percentage among coaches in the playoffs ever. You know, it's Bill Belichick, Tom Landry, Andy Reid from what I'm looking at right now. Again, that's 19-16 on the entirety of the playoffs, which now be 19-17, which are tying with Don Shula. The other thing that I would ask is, where would you go to get better if you do think that that is the issue? And here's where this is why I find my spots of criticizing Andy Reid in a pretty narrow lane. Whenever Andy Reid leaves meat on the bone, so to speak, in a fourth down situation or punting, again, at midfield on 4th and 6 or not doing the right thing timeout-wise in multiple Bengals games this year, those are places that I find it very easy and very fair to criticize Andy Reid in some of his in-game managements that are ultimately not good enough. The issue beyond that, though, is do you think the Chiefs are in a good place as an organization? And I guess you could probably find a way to be a skeptic on that question, to say no. But I think that's really difficult to do whenever you look around and you see. Would you rather be the Raiders right now hiring Josh McDaniels, or you want to go be the first team to give Brian Daboll a shot in this sort of new phase of his career? You want to go see if you can grab yourself a Harbaugh? And to that point, John Harbaugh is 11-8 in the playoffs with 1 championship. Pete Carroll's got 1. Mike McCarthy had Aaron Rodgers for 1,000,000 years and got 1. So I don't know. I don't know if that math is anything special because of the nature of the playoffs. I do think there are places where Andy Reid is very fair to critique. And I wish he was better in some of those situations, because it seems like most of the stuff it takes to be an excellent head coach, he is good at. Which is not to say there's not room for improvement. So that's where I come down. I don't think that anybody we've seen in the modern era, other than Bill Belichick, is expected to win more than Andy Reid now is, especially with Patrick Mahomes. I don't think there is improvement to be had. It doesn't mean that Andy Reid is faultless. I hope that's fair and reasonable and makes sense. One more call here, then we got to take another quick break, but Ryan's been online for a little bit. Ryan, what's up?
Well, I hope to make people really happy here.
Okay.
Because I'd take, I don't know, I'm getting tired of the cuteness. I really am. And I think it's detrimental to our man. Because, you know, the older you get, the slower you get, and the cuteness on, you know, hopefully everybody knows 15 is who I'm talking about, because that's the one person that matters. Tyrann Mathieu, see ya. Frank Clark, see ya. I don't care about those players. They make way too much money, in all reality. This is business. They can go.
Mm-hmm.
We need better drafted players. We need younger players from these universities that are pushing out people that, if anybody watched the Alabama-Georgia game, there's plenty of players to be played.
That's true.
So, and I don't mean to be mean, but it's just we're on to the next year.
Yep.
Already. And I, in all reality, I'll take somebody like a Deion Sanders at Jackson State or somebody just to get these guys motivated. It's all it takes. And honestly, the cuteness, though, is what I'm talking about. The guy out there at Las Vegas, they got fired. And I believe in second chances and stuff like that. And here's the thing. Who else would you do? I don't want Eric Bieniemy, because I tell you what, he's comes from Andy Reid. They don't adjust. What is it about the first half? I understand you get the play sheet, but why can't you adjust within the game in the second half? And I'm getting tired of it. And these players, I heard Nicole Hardman kind of act a little, he doesn't want to answer questions. Well, I'm going to tell you what, I'm tired of hearing the same old answers from these same old young players. Because now, you know, they're younger than me. Tell it, you know what? They didn't do what they were supposed to do. And this is embarrassment. They ought to be embarrassed. And I know they are. And if they get mad because I say it, that's the whole thing. That's why it is embarrassing, because they know it's the truth. So anyway, thank you, Josh. Hey, 8-10, you guys have a great one. And then honestly, just go Chiefs, but don't be embarrassed. You got to be embarrassed of what we're going to do here. What are we talking about?
Yep.
We're talking about practice.
Yep.
Practice.
Appreciate it, Ryan. They shouldn't fire Andy Reid to go hire John Gruden, would be my opinion. I would put that one out there pretty confidently. Appreciate you, Ryan, but I would say let's not go. We don't have to do that. I wouldn't do it for Deion Sanders either. I don't think motivation is the issue, and I understand the frustration today. Why did they come out so flat in the second half offensively? Why did that drive in the first half fizzle out the way that it did? Why did he have to call a timeout before he knew he wanted to challenge that play early in the game? Why could they not do anything offensively in the second half? I understand all those things. Those are all fair things to point at. I think today is a day where you're going to ask a lot of questions about a lot of things, and most of them are going to be based somewhere reasonable. I also, just as a person looking around the league right now, the Jags tried Urban Meyer, get a little motivator. Now they are interviewing Vic Fangio because they can't get Byron Leftwich. You don't want those problems. That doesn't mean that there's not room for something to change. This does not mean that Andy Reid is beyond reproach. This does not mean that this is a team that is perfectly formed that just caught some bad luck today. Again, those are things we could have said out of the Bills game. Those are not things you can say today. I do not think that this is going to be an issue resolved by calling it quits on Andy Reid, just to be fair. We need to take a break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team score is your % off. They scored 24 points, so you get 24% off all day tomorrow at CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
At Panera, you can say yes to both of your cravings. We call it You Pick Two. And with over 465 pairings, you'll find a meal sure to satisfy any mood. Are you feeling both fresh and fun? Pick our Fuji apple salad with a new Thai chicken soup. Or maybe you're feeling classic and bold. Pair some creamy mac and cheese with our new Citrus Asian Crunch salad. Pick your perfect pair and order a You Pick Two today. Panera, the familiar made fantastic.
I need postcards printed and designed. Oh, and a targeted direct mail campaign.
It's possible at Staples.
I need my presentation printed, bound, and perfect.
Also possible with Staples Print Big Promise. Your small business marketing will make a big impact. And right now, get 20% off custom printed signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Explore what's new at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 2/26. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
The Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes is back. Every score change will draw one winner from the square to win $50,000. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. Get in the game for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 56.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority as 11/11/22. Equal housing lender licensed all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL entities have not offered to sponsor this promotion in any way.
Kansas City, you're on the clock. Jason Anderson here from MainStreetPreowned.com. If you've been looking for a quality used car, truck, or SUV, I've got the answer. MainStreetPreowned.com. All makes, all models, over 500 used vehicles to choose from, all with dealer cash rebates up to $2,000. MainStreetPreowned.com. Their inventory is constantly changing every 15 days, so it all has to go and is constantly being restocked with more. MainStreetPreowned.com. That's MainStreetPreowned.com.
Andy's Cookie Casanova Jackhammer is back, just for the new year. Hurry in for hot fudge, warm cookies, and frozen custard. Andy's Frozen Custard. We know where you got that grin.
At Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, they're so confident in their new vehicles, they're offering a 90-day money-back guarantee with no mileage restriction. From the 2022 Kia Telluride to the 2022 Sportage or Soul, get what you absolutely want or return it if it's not right for you. Plus, all new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Command the season in a new Kia from Robert Brogdon. Shop OlatheKia.com or stop by. Just a short drive from I-35. Customer must register vehicle. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Shop Menards' full selection of over 7,000 interior lights. Find your style with Patriot Lighting's great selection of unique styles and finishes, like our Samuel Lighting collection. The vintage industrial design comes in a bold bronze finish with clear glass shades that show off the vintage style bulbs. Add rustic elegance today with a Samuel 5-light chandelier, on sale just $149.99. Save big money with Patriot Lighting now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Sunday, ESPN Kansas City will bring you live coverage of the NFC Championship Game.
Stafford straight drop back, pressure off the edge, deep ball, middle of the field, Cup is open, it's pulled in.
Kick is up, and the kick is good. Clock at 0. San Francisco is won.
It's the Rams and 49ers for a chance to play in Super Bowl 56. Live coverage begins at 5:30 on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Wealth-changing question. Is your financial advisor giving you incomplete advice? At Creative Planning, our in-house wealth managers, accountants, and estate attorneys work together, so you can be confident all the elements of your financial plan, investments, taxes, and estate are working harder together. All the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Hi, I'm Fred Ramsey. And I'm Mark Tobin. Hey, folks, if you're not busy Saturday mornings from 6 to 7 a.m., well, I hope you'll join us for the Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet St. Joe.
Join us and our expert guests, and we'll be talking about hunting and fishing, dog training. We'll give you tips, pass along stories, and most important, share some laughs along the way.
That's right. We cover it all, from crappie to waterfowl, and we'll tell you how to cook it, too.
The Midwest Outdoors, brought to you by Reed Chevrolet, Saturday morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
A 31-yard attempt for Cincinnati. Snap, placement, McPherson, kick on the way. It's good! McPherson knocks it through, and the fairy tale continues for the Cincinnati Bengals. They are going to the Super Bowl. First time since 1988. Why not us if you're Cincinnati? Who dey? They headed to the Super Bowl.
Sorry to make you hear that, but it had to be the play of the game here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. The play of the game is brought to you by Central Bank of the Midwest. It just was the play of the game, man. I'm sorry. We haven't had to do that many post-losing effort postgame shows here in recent weeks. In fact, the last one we did was against the Cincinnati Bengals. The most recent one we did before that was a very long time ago, and now we have had to develop hand signals here, Beards and I, to make sure we know what's coming up next. I have figured out what that one means, Beards. Thank you. The finger over the lip in a mustache sort of formation means that we do have Andy Reid's post-game press conference audio ready to go. So much like, we don't have that Applebee's song playing loudly behind us, but we do have, a talkback button that basically renders Beards' microphone about as useless as the ones they were wearing in the halftime show. Can we blame that song for all of this? Things were never the same after that happened. We'll get to Andy Reid momentarily. First, I'll let you know that this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. It's brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. We'll get to Andy Reid here in about 30 seconds. But first, hear this from our friends over at Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia and Andy's Frozen Custard.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
We'll start with the opening statement from the Kansas City Chiefs head coach following the end of their season in a 27-24 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. Here's how Andy Reid opened it up.
Listen, congratulations goes out to Cincinnati. They did a nice job and did a better job than what we did in that second half for sure. Appreciate our fans for sticking with us throughout the season and then being great today. So. Listen, it's my responsibility to make sure that we do better offensively and as a team. And I obviously didn't get that done that second half. So I've got to do a better job there. We'll go back and look at things and make the adjustments that we need to going into the offseason. Unfortunately, this is so final, and that's where we sit now. And it's our players were disappointed. Obviously, they put a lot of time and effort into this, putting themselves in this position for a championship game. I'm proud of them for that. And way they battled through some of the problems that we had early in the season. So we, again, very appreciative of the guys.
You know, he says it's disappointing this is so final. It is, and look, at least so far, I think for the majority of the callers who have gotten their time so far, I think I'm finding myself as the, I don't know, if not Andy Reid defender, like Andy Reid, hey, hold on, It's not really a phrase, but I would also say that one of the things that isn't very satisfying is after every loss, Andy Reid says, we weren't good enough here, that's on me, we got to be better, and I would love to know a little more in those specifics. He's never going to tell us. He doesn't have to tell us. He's not coaching us. I get it. I don't know that changes the scope of how the game actually goes. I just wish we had a little more from Andy Reid on occasion of what it takes to see improvement on some of those things. But also I'll let Andy Reid speak for himself on a few of these things, like one of the places where the Chiefs simply left points on the board tonight, that last play of the first half.
Yeah, so I was hoping we could get the ball in the end zone. I probably gave him the wrong play, first of all. So to start with, I could have given him something better than that, where the play was open in the end zone, and then we wouldn't have to go through that. But it's I'll take responsibility for that one out.
Hey, Coach, at the end of the first half, you mentioned the play call there, but how close was it to you guys just kicking the field goal there? It looked like Pat was lobbying for it. Were you 50-50?
Yeah, we had enough time we had enough time for another play, but I've got to get one that's open in the end zone. So, yeah.
They did. I'm glad they went for it on that play. I just don't know. And look, somebody mentioned earlier, I actually meant to mention this, that you're tired of Andy Reid getting too cute. And I really do understand that. But then Travis Kelce throws a touchdown pass to Byron Pringle, and Nick Allegretti catches a touchdown. And these Blake Belldozer plays, these are all things that work. The Travis Kelce third and short conversion that was big at the time, that came on a little underhanded toss that has been an Andy Reid staple over the last few years. Being too cute is what we say when it doesn't work, and being brilliant is what we say when the cute thing does work. I want to be careful about how we use those terms and everything. I say all that still. That ball's got to go into the end zone. I know Patrick Mahomes was asked about it as well. We'll hear from his side in a little bit, but let's stick with the Andy Reid side. He was asked about the conversation there in overtime, Joe Mixon's run in OT, and it looked like he was asking the refs to take a look at the play. Andy Reid described what was going on there.
Yeah, not Joe Burrow. You're talking about Nixon. So, I was wondering what they were going to say about that. Yes. You can't challenge right there, but it's I had a chance to talk to him, and they said he gave himself up.
So that's about him going down and coming back up without the ball. I was wondering if he had been touched down there, and Andy Reid was saying that also. Apparently the refs told him that he'd given himself up. Joe Mixon did not give himself up there. He went down and may not have been touched down. I don't necessarily want to spend a whole lot of time on that because the Chiefs had a lot of chances to do something on their own, and they might have hit that field goal with or without that run, but would have been a nice break, and they didn't get it. The refs didn't look at it because they said he had given himself up on that run, which is a call I would disagree with. I don't know that if he was touched or not, if that would have been a fumble. The idea that it was unreviewable because he gave himself up, I think, is silly. Hardly the thing that I would hang my hat on from this game. In that second half, the offense obviously came to a screeching halt. Reid was asked about that and if the Bengals did anything different to cause those struggles.
Yeah, listen, Herbie, not really. I mean, they played a little bit more man on second down, but other than that, no, not really. So we just, I can put the players in better positions to make plays. I didn't get that part done.
Yeah, I mean, a little more man on second down isn't anything the Chiefs hadn't seen or couldn't deal with. So, I mean, there's not anything to even say about the Bengals there. So what happened with the actual Chiefs offense? Andy Reid says he takes responsibility for everything. I think we're going to hear something similar from Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we're not really going to lay this at the feet of Patrick Mahomes for the most part, I don't think. But On a hunch of the first time watching this game, I think that Patrick Mahomes might end up shouldering more of the weight of it than Andy Reid does. Give me the wiggle room to change my mind after we get more information. You have to watch it again, but it felt like there were plays that Patrick Mahomes missed that were beyond, a not great play call. It may be splitting hairs on those. I mean, that duo. Here's the context I want to put this in. The duo of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes is why we are talking about the Chiefs losing and their season ending on January 30th instead of around the end of December, right? Like, is Andy Reid or is Patrick Mahomes a Chief if Andy Reid's not the coach? Are they here even if they do have Patrick Mahomes with any of the messes that most of the other franchises in the NFL are dealing with? I don't know. I mean, I do. I do know. This franchise is not in this place without Andy Reid coming to Kansas City whenever he was looking for his second stop, and they're not here without Patrick Mahomes. It also doesn't mean that those guys did a good job today, because they didn't. All of that can all be true at once. Here, Andy Reid was asked about what he said to the team after the game, if he'd be willing to share some of that with the media.
Listen, I know it's disappointing, and it's final. That's the unfortunate part of it. So when things are in a calmer state, we'll get together tomorrow for a team meeting. But I do appreciate the work in which each guy put in. So, and respect them for that, especially where we were early in the season.
Yeah, I mean, the story of the season in some ways feels like a rousing success. And also, this is a team with legit Super Bowl aspirations every season. So losing a game where you just kind of dump the bed in the second half is hardly a satisfying result, win or lose. It was a really brutal effort to go out on. That second half, obviously, a mess. The end of the second half, the Chiefs did have a chance to try to win it in regulation. They don't want to leave too much time for Joe Burrow. Patrick Mahomes also made some mistakes there, I thought, in running and going out of bounds and stopping the clock. Maybe they could have actually played a little more of their natural offense if they could have done a few more things with the clock still running. A lot of moving parts there. Andy Reid was asked about his thought process at the end of that second half.
Yeah, well, we were trying to score, a touchdown. So any way we could score a touchdown, we were trying to score a touchdown. I mean, hindsight would tell you, well, the passes weren't working, so maybe you should have run it. But, we were just trying to get the ball in the end zone so we could give them as little time as possible and score a touchdown.
I mean, that's another part of the frustrating things there, right? Last week, this incredible story was that they scored exactly when they needed to keep their season alive, and the story today is they couldn't score when they needed to keep their season alive. Mentioned earlier, they weren't bringing down Joe Burrow despite the fact they were getting to him. Andy Reid was asked about that, getting pressure on Burrow, but not able to bring him down when it counted.
Yeah, so we did have opportunities. He got out of those, and again, that happens. But they were holding extra people in too, as you saw, for protection purposes.
Yeah, but I mean, when they're holding extra in, then you have the advantage in the numbers in the back end. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure what that last part was supposed to say. So having four guys not get to the quarterback whenever they're keeping in help and they're blocking you with 6 or 7 is not a problem. That's fine. You don't get pressure, but you have a 3-man advantage in your secondary, You can do some work with that, and eventually you hope your front four gets there. That is something else I will say. I, as a big Chris Jones fan, and as someone who has made a fan of Melvin Ingram over the course of his time here in Kansas City, that front four does not get to cash the check of these playoffs. They just don't, man. I was left underwhelmed against the Bills, even as Josh Allen was doing incredible things. I was left very underwhelmed today when, blame the pressure if you want, when you get there, you've got to bring them down. I do think Frank Clark's time in Kansas City is probably over. They're going to be carrying a dead cap hit for him regardless. Maybe they keep him around anyway, because at that point, you're making choices about your margins there, not if you want to pay him 0 or a lot, but you're going to pay him quite a bit or an extraordinary amount. And again, this game doesn't come down to the defense. the offense was the losing party here. Andy Reid talked about that a little bit, the idea that Patrick Mahomes may have been pressing in that second half and why he thinks that happened.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Patrick's a great player, so he was trying to make a play. And like I said, I've got to do a better job of giving him things that he can make plays with. So I can do a lot better in that area.
Hey, Coach, there's been some statistics that kind of correlate that when Patrick is moving around a lot, that sometimes that's when he gets away from his best games. Is there anything in the moment in the second half that, where you can talk to Patrick, or anything that you see where he gets mobile like that and to try and change things up a little bit?
Yeah, listen, Matt, like I said, I could have given him other things to work with and better things. So I didn't. He was trying to move around like he does and make plays. He did, that you never have to worry about that part. So, but I could have given him better plays to work with.
That's what Andy Reid's going to say. We'll hear Patrick Mahomes in his own words on the other side of our break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. I think there's blame to go around, and we will probably hear some similar things from Mahomes after, I think at least his most disappointing game with the Chiefs. Big stage, poor second half. On TV right now, there's an ad for commemorative football commemorating the 13-second drive of the divisional round. Those are probably going to be harder to sell today, I think. It's like how, the some of the championship merch doesn't. I don't know how many people are going to want to commemorate this season, which is kind of disappointing considering that we saw, an absolutely incredible game last week. It just ends on kind of a fart noise. Disappointing. Again, we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the break. But the show is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery, and that's important to remind you about. You got to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes next on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City.
You are listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL, Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
WHB Kansas City.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Every weekday on Sports Radio 810, tune in to hear Kansas City's favorite local lineup. At 6 a.m., wake up with the Border Patrol with Stephen St. John and Nate Bucati. At 10, it's The Zone with Jason Anderson. Now at 2, get into the program with Soren Petro. And wrap up your day on Almost Entirely Sports with Joshua Brisco. Kansas City's hometown sports station. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
When you need a battery, it's Wholesale Batteries. Since 1977, Wholesale Batteries is one of the largest full-line battery suppliers in the Midwest, serving commercial, industrial, OEM, and retail customers. Call 913-342-0113. Wholesale Batteries, we give you the power.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. It's freezing outside. Are you feeling the cold air coming into your home? Heater running constantly? If so, you need new windows. Window Nation wants to help keep you warm inside with their 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest offer for a limited time. Get new windows and keep all of your cold, hard cash in your nice, warm pocket for 2 years. And this is even cooler. Window Nation is giving you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. There's no limit. Let Window Nation get you out of the deep freeze. Get your home winterized with energy-efficient Window Nation windows, and you'll be warmly rewarded with lower energy bills. Pay nothing until 2024. Plus, you'll get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Now is the very best time for the very best deal of this brand new year. Call Window Nation today at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
Shop Menards' full selection of over 7,000 interior lights. Find your style with Patriot Lighting's great selection of unique styles and finishes, like our Samuel Lighting collection. The vintage industrial design comes in a bold bronze finish with clear glass shades that show off the vintage style bulbs. Add rustic elegance today with a Samuel 5-light chandelier, on sale just $149.99. Save big money with Patriot Lighting now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Sunday, ESPN Kansas City will bring you live coverage of the NFC Championship Game.
Stafford straight drop back, pressure off the edge, deep ball, middle of the field, Cup is open, it's pulled in!
Kick is up, and the kick is good! Clock at 0! San Francisco is won!
It's the Rams and 49ers for a chance to play in Super Bowl 56. Live coverage begins at 5:30 on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
For 11 years, Breaking the Norm has presented the best and most uplifting stories in sports, entertainment, and business, and we wouldn't be here without our amazing partners and you, our faithful listeners. Your stories of life change, loving others, and inspiration keep us dedicated to making a difference in the world, one story at a time. Tune in Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM and Saturday mornings at 7 on Sports Radio 810 WHB for something good, something positive, and something real on Breaking the Norm.
Nobody wants to be on the bench, and sometimes we all need to change up our position. So if you're ready, reach out to Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric and get your new position. Share your skills and talent with a new team and be part of the Anthony family. Be on the best team. Check out all of the positions available for you at AnthonyPHCE.com today. That's AnthonyPHCE.com.
Running right to the 20, back to the left 10, 5, touchdown!
Super Bowl 56 is coming to America's largest all-sports radio station. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
High snap, put down, kick is up, and the kick is good! He got it!
Follow all the action right here on your home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Third down and 2 from the 5. Pringle comes in motion to the near side. Snap. Mahomes steps up in trouble. Spins out of it. To his right. Mahomes buying time. Running. Floats it. End zone. Caught. Touchdown. Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes is a magician.
That play was fantastic. It is our gem of the game today. Yeah, it's a losing effort, and the Chiefs took an L. That doesn't mean you have to, though. In fact, I know that for me, 2022 did have a ring involved in it. That's the gem of the game, brought to you by Ruback Fine Jewelry. They're the reason that I do know that there's going to be at least one winning ring in my life this year. They are the oldest jewelry establishment in Kansas City, in our community for over 100 years. Ruback is the crown jewel of custom engagement rings. Whether you know exactly what you want or you have no idea at all, they will work with you to educate you across that process, help you create a vision, and bring it to life. They did that for me. They did that for then-girlfriend, now fiance Renee, and we just both could not be more thrilled with the ring that we got from Ruback. Renee has said, I could have proposed with a ring pop, and maybe she still would have said, yeah. She can lie to me all she wants. I knew that the deal was sealed whenever I got the ring from Hal at Ruback. Call Hal yourself. Work on a custom ring for any occasion, any gift. If you have a reason in your life to make a custom piece of jewelry, that is the only place that you have any reason to go. It's an overwhelming experience on the front end, right? I was thinking about, what do I do? Should I just go ring pop? Should I just go to the vending machine? Ultimately, I got a suggestion to go talk to Hal at Ruback. I did, and I am so grateful grateful for that. Again, add a little jewelry to your life, a ring for any occasion. Certainly, though, if you're on the hunt for an engagement ring, I cannot recommend Ruback highly enough. You will enjoy and appreciate and learn from that experience. And a custom ring is not just, that does not immediately mean it's going to cost every penny in your pocket, because a custom ring also means a custom budget. So you can go to Hal and say, here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think? Here's what my budget is. What can we do with that? And he will work with you throughout that process. And now both fiance Renee and I both have a jeweler that we will go back to for life. I'm excited to go back and go band shopping as well from Hal over at Ruback, and see if I can't get something a little shiny for myself as well. So again, maybe tonight you're staring into the darkness thinking about your life because the Chiefs season has ended on a dour note. Brighten your day back up, and maybe you get a good excuse to go ahead and make a commitment you've been waiting on, or you just want to get yourself a great gift for a loved one for Valentine's Day just around the corner. Anytime you have any reason to celebrate anything, go to Ruback. They're the place to go. Call Hal now by appointment at the Ruback Showroom. That's in the U.S. Bank Building on 95th between Knoll and Rowe. You can also check them out online at ruback.co. It's not .com, it's .co. ruback.co, or follow them on Instagram. Check them out there at Ruback Fine Jewelry KC. That's RUBACK Fine Jewelry KC on Instagram. They will not let you down, and you will make sure you get yourself a little bit of championship jewelry this 2022 year as we wait for the Chiefs to try to run it back and get back to the Super Bowl again next season. But you can lock down your win today. We will hear now from the quarterback. This was a really, really rough game for Patrick Mahomes. I am sure that he is going to be very aware of that and talk about that here in his own words. But first, thanks to our friends at KC Acura, Xfinity, and Westlake Ace Hardware.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
We'll start with that last play of the first half. Andy Reid said he could have done better. What did Patrick Mahomes say whenever he was asked about that play that had the Chiefs end that last drive of the first half with 0 points?
Yeah, we had just ran a play. It took 4 seconds to play before where I burned it. So I knew that the time was low, obviously, and knew we needed to get points. We called a play that we were trying to get someone over the middle quick. And then I was supposed to throw the ball away. I got a little greedy there and try to give to Tyreek and get a touchdown. They had 2 people out there. So definitely, I mean, in the long run of things, it looks bad. But if we had another chance, I would have went for another play again.
Going for that play there, not a problem for me. I knew that answer from him was coming. I had seen that he mentioned that. Keep that in mind as we're talking about Andy Reid a lot in that first chunk of the show here. Andy Reid said he's got to call a better play. Mahomes says he was supposed to go over the middle and then throw it away if it wasn't there. He got a little greedy. I tend to believe Patrick Mahomes because Andy Reid's not going to say Mahomes screwed it up. I think Mahomes is probably being honest there, and it's just a mistake from a superstar quarterback. They're rare, but they do happen. I don't know what to do with it other than just sort of sit there and be bummed about it, though. Next up here from Patrick Mahomes, he was asked about how he thinks he'll look back at this season considering the Super Bowl aspirations.
I mean, you take away the good things, just like any season. It's definitely disappointing. I mean, here with this group of guys that we have, we expect to be in that game and to win that game. And anything less than that is not success. So we'll go back. We'll look at all the things we did well, the adversity we battled through, the team that we became towards the end of the season, and try to learn from the mistakes that we made and try to be better next year.
Let's keep it moving here from Patrick Mahomes. The second half, obviously, is going to be the thing that we spend most of our time talking about in light of this game. He was asked about their struggles in the second half and what was causing them.
There's just a few misreads here and there. There was guys that were open, and I didn't hit at the right time, or I passed up on a something shorter. That I went for something. I wanted to get something deeper down the field. And when you're playing a good team and you don't hit what's there, and you try to get a little bit more than what's necessary, you kind of bite you in the butt, I guess you would say. I mean, it's something that we were playing so well in the first half. In the second half, we were just off a tick, and that's all it takes to lose a football game.
And then it seemed like the Bengals were really trying to, in the second half, prevent you from scrambling a lot with the way they were playing the defensive linemen. Can you just explain what you were seeing in regards to that?
Yeah, they just had a spy on me for the most part, and I've usually done a great job of getting around that guy. But they had a good game plan. They were doing a lot of similar stuff in the first half. We were just executing at a higher level, and they stayed with it. They fought. I mean, that's a good football team, but it takes a lot of fight to stay in a game whenever you're down like that. But I mean, I got to be better. I mean, when you're up 21-3 at one point in a game, you can't lose it. And I put that on myself.
Given your success scrambling in the red zone in the first half, was there anything that you just saw differently from the Bengals when you had those opportunities late in the fourth quarter?
The red zone, I mean, we were only down there once in the second half, so it wasn't like we weren't having great success. I mean, it was at the point at the end of the game where they were just blocking the end zone, trying to keep us to a field goal. So you got to be in the red zone more to have more success in it.
Yeah, that seems about right, actually. That's a good point from Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to keep letting you hear from the quarterback. I've given you my thoughts. You probably want to hear from 15. Here's what he said when he was asked about his message to the team after the game.
Yeah, I mean, I said I'm proud of those guys. I mean, if you looked at the season that we had to be in this game in general, it's definitely a special group of guys that battle through adversity. But the leaders on this team know that this isn't our standard. We want to win the Super Bowl. Whenever you taste that winning the Super Bowl, nothing less than that is success. And so we have to go back. Obviously, every locker room's different, but we have the core group of guys that it takes to win. So we have to go back, learn from this, and try to be better next year.
Well, in that same lane here, that's his message to the team. But what about his feelings right now as this game ends their season?
Yeah, you're definitely disappointed. I mean, when you're this close and you're in the final 4 games, you want to win the Super Bowl. And we've had 2 years in a row where we've lost an AFC Championship, or actually 4 years really. We lost AFC Championship game, won the Super Bowl, lost Super Bowl, then lost AFC Championship. And so, I mean, a few plays here and there, you could have 4 chances at the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it's definitely disappointing, but you have to learn from it. I mean, you can't let this end what we have here. You have to make sure that you continue to battle, continue to get better, and try to find ways to win Super Bowls at the end of the day.
I mean, that's true. This is going to be another chapter in the story here. This can't by any means be the end of the progression of this team. It might look a little different next year, but it's probably going to look more similar than it would different, despite the fact that it ends in a very disappointing fashion. The interception, the last pass that Patrick Mahomes threw in this season, of course, picked off downfield. It wasn't a red zone interception or anything, but it also wasn't ideal. He took a shot to Tyreek Hill. He was asked about that pick in overtime.
Yeah, on the overtime interception, I knew the safety was going to make a play, making a run at it. But I just gave my guy a chance, and I mean, it got tipped. Good play by one safety, and it fell right into the other dude's hands. So, I mean, I would have done it again. I mean, whenever you have a guy like Tyreek running and he has to step on someone, give him a chance to make a play. And I'll say like 8 times out of 10, he makes that catch. And so didn't work for us today. But I mean, that's a play that I would go to again if I had the chance.
I understand that. You got to take a shot somewhere. I don't know if putting the Bengals another 20 yards back there would have changed very much, but it's still a really frustrating way for that ball to leave your hand in your last pass of the season. Travis Kelce still is making record-breaking plays and continuing to rise up the ranks. Mahomes here was asked about Travis Kelce now being tied for the 3rd most touchdown catches in postseason history and what he provides both for himself and for the team.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a competitor, man. Obviously, he's super talented, and everybody knows that. The routes he runs, how big and athletic he is, and everything like that. But he's just a guy you want to go to battle with. He's going to fight to the very end. I mean, that's the type of dude he is, and we have guys like that all over this team. And as disappointed I am at how we performed in the second half and losing the game and everything like that, I'm proud of how the guys fought to the very end of that game, no matter how disappointing it looked there in the second half.
Lastly, from Mahomes, he was asked about the news of Tom Brady retiring and if it puts this season and his success and failures into perspective, looking at the career of Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, his career is one of a kind. I mean, that's why he's the GOAT. I mean, to win that many Super Bowls, to be in that many games, it's hard. And I've understood that. I mean, after the years that I've had, I mean, I've been close a lot, but I've only been there twice and I've only won one. And I understand that it takes a special player, a special group of guys, a special circumstances for that to happen. And I'm just going to try to do whatever I can to give myself a chance every year to try to get in that game and to win it. But I mean, who knows if he retires? I feel like we don't know for sure. But regardless if he does or he doesn't, he's going to be a great football player, and he's always been a great football player in his career.
There you have it, Patrick Mahomes for the last time in the 2021-22 season, and a very long off season about to begin just a couple weeks earlier than they would have liked. It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, and brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. If you're on hold right now, don't go anywhere. We're going to take a few more calls whenever we come back before we join in on the NFC Championship Game. If you want to start hearing that right now, it's over on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM and 94.5 FM. We'll have the entirety of the game over there. We will join in progress shortly here on these airwaves. Right now, the Niners are up 10-7 on the Rams with the ball about midfield and still have the ball despite a throw from Jimmy Garoppolo that I thought might have been getting picked off. They have the ball, though. So 10-7 right there, a close game. Continuing on ESPN Kansas City. We'll be on these airwaves shortly, but we'll come back, take a few more calls, and begin to wrap up the final game of the Chiefs season as they fall in the AFC Championship Game to the Cincinnati Bengals.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC is announcing a worry-free guarantee on new Buick and GMC purchases. That's right. Buy any vehicle, and if you don't love it, they'll take it back, no matter the mileage, and refund you 100% of the purchase price. They've got the area's best selection on new models like the 2022 GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500 Limited, and Buick Encore GX. With this offer, there's never been a better time to buy. Visit robertbrogdon.com or check them out at I-35 in Santa Fe in Olathe. Customer must register vehicle. See dealer for details.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly.
Hey, Kansas City, Stephen St. John here for Window Nation. It's freezing outside. Are you feeling the cold air coming into your home? Heater running constantly? If so, you need new windows. Window Nation wants to help keep you warm inside with their 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest offer for a limited time. Get new windows and keep all of your cold, hard cash in your nice, warm pocket for 2 years. And this is even cooler. Window Nation is giving you 2 free windows with every 2 you buy. There's no limit. Let Window Nation get you out of the deep freeze. Get your home winterized with energy-efficient Window Nation windows, and you'll be warmly rewarded with lower energy bills. Pay nothing until 2024. Plus, you'll get 2 windows free with every 2 you buy. Now is the very best time for the very best deal of this brand new year. Call Window Nation today at 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com and tell them Stephen St. John sent you.
Sunday, ESPN Kansas City will bring you live coverage of the NFC Championship Game.
Stafford straight drop back, pressure off the edge, deep ball, middle of the field, Cup is open, it's pulled in!
Kick is up, and the kick is good! Clock at 0! San Francisco is 1!
It's the Rams and 49ers for a chance to play in Super Bowl 56. Live coverage begins at 5:30 on ESPN Kansas City 94.5 FM.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sportszone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Wealth-changing question. Is your financial advisor giving you incomplete advice? At Creative Planning, our in-house wealth managers, accountants, and estate attorneys work together, so you can be confident all the elements of your financial plan, investments, taxes, and estate are working harder together. All the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Running right to the 20, back to the left hand. 5 touchdowns.
Super Bowl 56 is coming to America's largest all-sports radio station. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
High snap, put down, kick is up, and the kick is good! He got it!
Follow all the action right here on your home for the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
First and goal from the 3. 2 tight end formation. Fake the handoff. Loop it to the right. Mahomes throws. He's got his man. Caught. Touchdown. Hardman grabs it at the 1 and then waltzes into the end zone. The Kansas City Chiefs are going up and down the field against this Cincinnati defense, and they take a 20-3 lead.
That should have been a happier memory than it was, but it is still our Andy Reid call of the game, brought to you by Subaru of Olathe. At Subaru of Olathe, we put you in the driver's seat. Shop your way, hassle-free, online, anytime at SubaruofOlathe.com. Really does feel like it was a long time ago, but that was, well, it was the last touchdown for the Chiefs in this game. Believe it or not. A 3-point second half was not going to get it done, and the Chiefs fall short, losing in the AFC Championship game. 4 years in a row hosting the AFC Championship game, but now bookended by 2 AFC Championship game losses in the middle, 2 Super Bowl appearances, win 1, lose 1, which is still, just for the record, a better run than just about any other team in recent history has been on over the course of a 4-year stretch, but still no less disappointing for it to end the way that it did here today. We're going to take a few calls before we hand you over to the NFC Championship game. If you want to tune in right now, it's over on ESPN Kansas City, 1510 AM, 94.5 FM. And Sean is up first. Sean, appreciate your patience with us here. What you thinking?
I'm thinking this game is a realize who we are game.
Okay.
What I mean by that is there's dynasties and there's flashes in the pan. And dynasty franchises do not lose this game. And we lost this game because of who we are. And I'm not trying to be negative. I mean, I'm 42 years old, right? I grew up with the Steve DeBerg, Dino Hackett, Derek Thomas years where all we had was that good defense to hang our hat on. I love this team. I'm very happy. But realize what we are, okay? We should be happy with this. We should not be firing spags because going into this game, if we would have said we held the Bengals to 27 points, and Jamar Chase got less than 60 yards receiving, we'd all be dancing and thinking we won this game. So it's not on the defense, and some idiot that said earlier we should fire Spags. This is not a team that wins on defense anymore. This is not a league that wins on defense anymore. This is a league that wins on offense and quarterbacks. And our quarterback, love him, amazing player. We are lucky to get to watch him every Sunday, did not show up in the second half. And our play calling was abysmal. There's a reason that the enemy is still washing Andy Reid's underwear every Sunday and not a head coach somewhere, is because the play calling is bad. I mean, let's be honest. Last weekend would have been the Belldozer option game if we don't win that game. And it was a terrible play called in. We have awful play calling when it counts, and that's where we're at. And next year, hopefully we send Frank Clark packing. I love Honey Badger. He's a great motivator. He is what he is. We pay way too much for these guys on defense that don't come in when it should matter. I mean, the fact that our defensive line did not show up at all in the playoffs. But I hate to say this because I'm not that type of person. We should be happy where we're at right now. We are overachieving for what we are because we're not a dynasty team. We're not a dynasty franchise. We have an amazing quarterback, a generational quarterback, and it's sucks. I mean, I flew in from Chicago to watch this game, and it breaks my heart that we lost the game. I mean, I would have been better off if we lost last week. It'd feel a lot better because we would have lost to a better team. The fact that the Bengals, whose over-under for the wins and losses this season was 5, is now going to the Super Bowl makes me want to puke.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It is what it is, right? I mean, we didn't show up because we are not a dynasty franchise. The Patriots don't lose this game, right? The Niners back in the day don't lose this game. The Cowboys back in the day don't lose this game. We are not a dynasty franchise. There's a reason we've gone 2-2 at home in the AFC Championship game. We went 1-1 in the Super Bowl. We're not a dynasty. I'm sorry, and everyone wants to say that. Oh, we're going to be the next dynasty. We're not that, and this proves that. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. So that's all I have to say. We should take what we can get because it could be a hell of a lot worse. So
that's also definitely
that's
true.
A loser. That might be a loser attitude.
Yeah.
But
I mean, on some level, it probably is. And Sean, I appreciate your angle on that. I think that's really interesting. And like, I don't think that's a horrible thing to think. I think if that helps you appreciate what you get, then it's not a horrible place to be. The one thing I would say is that the Patriots have lost that game. I mean, they lost. They did not win a Super Bowl for 9 consecutive years. They had Super Bowls a decade apart, if I've got my numbers right there. Dynasties are really hard to establish. I mean, even you mentioned the Cowboys, right? They won their back-to-back Super Bowls, weren't even in the fourth one, then came back and won in year 4. They weren't in the third one, came back and won in year 4 to have that. And then that was the end of that dynasty. You know, that was 3 wins in 4 years, an incredible stretch, obviously. But the Patriots were on a absolute tear. And then you have years in a row where they lose before the either 2 or before, I can't remember all the details of this, but you have the Steelers and Colts win Super Bowls, and then the Patriots lose to the Giants after that. The Steelers win another one, and then the Colts make the AFC Championship game to lose to the Saints. The Steelers are in the next one, the Patriots are in the next one and lose to the Giants. The Ravens win the next one, the Broncos win the next one, just from the AFC side of things. The Broncos lose that next one, excuse me, that's when they lost to the Seahawks. And then the Patriots beat the Seahawks in 2015. They won a Super Bowl in February 2015, and before that, their most recent Super Bowl was February 2005. So it was a straight 10 years between Super Bowl wins for the undeniable greatest dynasty the sport's ever seen. So I do want to grade on a curve there because I think that we can kind of whitewash what the Patriots did and remember them as winning every single year when they didn't. I also think if you've got a little bit of that sort of, hey, prove it to me first stink from the Chiefs, I think that's also earned. They like it. This is a weird thing to say, but next year they need to be back in the Super Bowl. They need to win one, to get back in dynasty talk. Or you can appreciate the run they're on as an excellent franchise in a sport that does not allow for dynasties. That's also the truth of the NFL. You talk about the Cowboys as a dynasty with three Super Bowls. Is that dynastic? I don't know. The Patriots were, and they went a decade between Super Bowls. Just a little perspective there. I think Sean brought one angle of perspective. I'm going to bring perspective from that angle as well. Next up is Dan. Dan, I appreciate you waiting on hold. What's going on?
Hey, Josh, how you doing? Yeah, it's a disappointed. First 3 drives are pretty good. A touchdown piece by Hill and McCall Hardman and Kelsey. Now, you're right. On 4th and 5, that ball needs to go to the end zone. So I didn't understand the play call. Tyreek Hill's fast enough to make a guy miss. And I think the Chiefs did a good job defensively on Jamar Chase. Just got that one touchdown, but T. Higgins the 103 yards. And usually, boy, when Chris Jones gets you a hold of you, you're going down. I can't believe Burrow slipped the tackle like that. But still, the defensive line should have dominated. I thought sure they would get at least 10 or 11 sacks. But anyway, it was great to talk to you, Josh. Let's go next year and get this championship next year. Take care of yourself, Josh.
I appreciate it, Dan. Good to hear from you just about every week, if not literally every week throughout this season. Nice to have you added into the regular post-game rotation, Dan. I appreciate that. Next up here, we got Doug. Doug, thanks for waiting on hold. What's going on?
Hey, Josh. Just a couple of things, and then I wanted to mention one thing specifically about you. Sean hit all my points two callers ago.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things. This is a very difficult game they're playing in the NFL. But I still think people get nervous and tight, to use a sports metaphor. And I think that's what happened to Mahomes for some reason in the second half. I also think at the end of the first half that Andy Reid was psychologically trying to be a new century coach, where you're going for it on fourth down, you're going for two, etc. And it got botched. And then the last thing, I also want to mention, I think Eric Bieniemy got set up for failure. He was a fantastic college football runner, but he doesn't call the plays. And the reason he's not getting a head coaching position is because they know that Andy Reid is driving the offense. And then lastly, Josh, I think you have done just an incredible job this year. I listen to you every time after the games, and it's a tough one to take, but don't underestimate your ability and your future. You've got all the potential in the world, and I really appreciate what you've done.
Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate that. You also made me more uncomfortable than the Chiefs blowing a lead in the second half of the AFC Championship game, so thanks for that as well.
You're welcome. You take care, Josh.
That's very nice. Thank you, Doug. I do appreciate that. Yeah. I'm very grateful for everybody who's been along for the ride this year. Lots of regulars that have joined in over the course of this season. I was going to save this towards more of the end, but Doug beat me to it. Very, very grateful for those of you who have been around, calling in or not, or certainly watching on the video feeds, the Twitch and the YouTube and the Facebook, and everyone who's been around for the various post-game shows we've done this year. Been a very rewarding season from my seat over here. Very grateful to be doing this show every week, and grateful to have as many of you listening as I know are, especially whenever you call in and give me compliments, which again, is that's how you make me uncomfortable in the pocket. So tell me how great I am. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. I do wonder the philosophical thing on Andy Reid. I mean, I think Doug probably looking more at the end of the first half. They didn't face a fourth down that they went for at any point tonight. Their fourth down situations ended up largely being longer shots than they should have been because Mahomes was taking sacks that he shouldn't have been taking. I do think all of that kind of plays into itself. But, I mean, a complicated, complex game for a million reasons there. And I wonder, the Eric Bieniemy thing is kind of interesting because I didn't really hear that get attached to Doug Peterson and Matt Nagy, but I also don't know if there were any differences amongst those three. I do think that the Eric Bieniemy storyline continuing from this point on will be very interesting, and I think he's probably not going to be an NFL head coach next year if I had to make a guess right now, which I do think he has earned the opportunity, even if you yourself might be a skeptic. And he's gotten the interviews and not the job yet, which is at least interesting. Next up here, we got Ed. Ed, thank you for waiting on hold as well. What's going on?
Hi, Josh. How you doing, man?
I'm okay, all things considered. Ed, how are you?
You know what, man? It's just a game. You were. I prayed for you when I saw your dad post something on Twitter about you in the hospital. And if anyone can put things in perspective, probably you, man. It's good to hear you on the air. I'm glad you're doing good.
Thank you.
I called you after the Super Bowl win, ecstatic.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd call in today. The second time. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I'm just going to talk out loud.
Sure.
2 callers ago said the F word, by the way, and I'm offended by that.
We did dump it. It did not make it over the airwaves. You listening watching on the live video feeds, and those of you who are on hold got to hear the.
I'm sitting in my hot tub, trying to cool off, even though I'm hot now.
Right.
With 4 deep, and I'm listening on your app. But anyways,
thank you.
At the end of the day, it's just a game. Enjoy the ride. Here's the thing. I would still take Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid over anyone, and I mean that wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Mahomes probably lost us the game today, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He had a terrible second half. He did. But he's human. I have pictures of me on my phone hugging the Hy-Vee cereal box with him on the cover of it. I love that guy. I love Patrick Mahomes. I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a first-ballot Hall of Fame coach. Anyone blaming him for any of this, I think is wrong.
Mm.
I do. You said put things in perspective a few callers earlier ago, and that's what I'm trying to do, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm disappointed. I really am. We should have beat. We were a 7-point favorite, I think, if you're a betting fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're better than the Bengals, but they beat us twice, and this game was kind of deja vu.
Yeah.
From Week 17, we only scored 3 points in the second half both times.
Yeah.
What changed, in your opinion? What changed in the second half? Why did we were going up and down the field religiously in the first half, and then did they change something? What changed in the second half, in your opinion?
I'm going to hang up on you and answer that over the air. Appreciate the kind words. Appreciate the perspective. Appreciate you calling back in, even though it was less fun than last time. Thanks, Ed. It's funny because I think you could ask the question of what changed from the beginning of the season to the later season Chiefs offense. There's some of the stuff with the cover two, but I think even that got a little bit overblown. You had drops and big plays and some execution issues. The execution becomes a coaching buzzword, right? Like that's sort of nothing, but also it's all we got. I think that you can start a lot of it there, and you find Patrick Mahomes sailing a couple of passes. Tyreek Hill not able to haul one in. Travis Kelce not able to haul one in. Play calling was strange at times. The offense, it seemed like they were forcing Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a little bit in the second half. Jerick McKinnon still, to me, is a part of this offense whenever it's firing at its smoothest. And so a lot of those questions are things that it's a lot of little things stacking up. There is not one big satisfying answer, which is pretty frustrating because that would make the process a little bit easier. And if there's another element to it, I'm going to have to go through it one more time and try to figure out what else comes through there. Because truthfully, I don't know. Beyond that, we saw Patrick Mahomes be off. We saw some of these playmakers be a little bit off. We saw the offensive line get beat. We saw Mahomes bailing out of pockets that I'm not sure were times he shouldn't have been bailing out, but he took some bad sacks. He did a lot of pirouetting, a lot of movement in the way that, not the playmaking movement, but the oh bleep, where am I going to go with this football type of movement? They were getting pressure with a limited number of guys often enough that he was forced out of the pocket and to go on that pirouetting, spinning, X button mashing journey, only to find that he still had to deal with 6 or 7 guys in coverage. I don't know why they couldn't adjust to any of those things, but those are the symptoms that I saw in that second half that's going to stick with us through the rest of this offseason. One more call before we begin to wrap things up and head over to the NFC Championship game. Nick, you get to shut us down here. Nick, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Josh.
Of course.
I had one huge takeaway, and then like 3 or 4 callers ago, the guy from Chicago kind of added another takeaway that I wanted to throw in. But firstly, my main thing was just that the thing I found out today that I knew intellectually but didn't actually believe is that Mahomes could come up small in a big game, just like every quarterback who's ever played the game, including Brady or Joe Montana. If you look through their past, they all have at least a half where they kind of crap the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to tell me that's going to happen, one half of one game, or if you want to say the first half of the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, so 10% of halves in his playoff games, I'll buy that, right? Sure. I'll take that for the future.
Yeah.
And then my other main takeaway was just that, if you're going to let, from the call earlier, you can't let like some ephemeral term like dynasty or whatever have anything to do with like the joy and the happiness this team has brought me. I'm the exact same age as the guy that called earlier, and there were some rough years watching this team for this team. And if you would have told me a few years ago we'd host 4 AFC championships in a row, win, lose, all of them, I would have pushed my grandmother into traffic. It's not even close, right? So,
you got to find better coping mechanisms for surprising news, Nick.
Right, I know, right? But I'm just being honest. I'm not always the most optimistic person, but
sure.
I felt like last week at the end of the game, I literally thought I might have a heart attack, and I'm like I had to like put my head between my knees and hyperventilate,
right.
And I decided after last week, like, you just can't get that work. Like, think about how lucky you are to have Patrick Mahomes here and Andy Reid here.
Yep.
And for whatever flaws everybody has flaws, and I'll take their flaws over anybody else's. So, let's get the safety from Penn State, Brisco, to replace the Badger. Let's grab a wide receiver in the second round, maybe a free agent defensive end. You want to twist my arm, hire Wink Martindale or Vic Fangio instead of Spagnuolo, sure, or some young college like Brett Venables type guy. Cool, I'm down. But otherwise, let's reload. Let's go into it next year, and the future is just, it's so bright you got to wear shades, my man. So I'm really, really lucky to be a Chiefs fan, and all of us are. So that's all I wanted to say. You do a great job, and thanks, man. Thanks for a great year.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you for that being the one that will end the year of post-game shows on. That's a call that I think we could all probably take. And here's a couple of things. In fact, actually, you know what? Let me do two things here. I want to spin off of that and allow for a lot of feelings. And I want to send you into the NFC Championship game. You can hear the fourth quarter and change of that. And then we'll be back to bring a few more press conferences and some stuff you may have missed today. We'll do that after the NFC Championship game, and you'll be able to hear that later on tonight as well. First, let me tell you this, because we've got now several callers here who have mentioned putting some things in perspective. It's true. I was in the hospital not that long ago, not knowing why, and then getting all of that sorted out to a place. Right now, I feel great and am genuinely very happy to be here. And 2021 took a couple of sharp left turns for me where I wasn't expecting them. And 2022, even after this today, has been off to a pretty good start. I do hope that there is room for the perspective on that, and this is a segue into a live read. Okay, I'm gonna just acknowledge that, but I am dead honest serious that the best thing that's happened to me this year is that right on this side of midnight of 2022, I got engaged, and the wonderful girlfriend Renee became fiance Renee, and that is genuinely with so much thanks to give to the folks at Ruback Fine Jewelry. I've been in Kansas City for over 100 years. I know, again, I'm mixing a lot of life and football and Ruback all together here, but hear me out, because I did not know where I was going to begin in this process of getting, for me, what was going to ultimately be a pretty daunting task figured out in terms of getting an engagement ring, getting one that I liked, that Renee liked, that was going to actually be something that was very personal to both of us, and I could not in any universe be happier with how the process went and with the result than what I was able to do with the help of Hal at Ruback Fine Jewelry. A custom ring is something that you should at least be considering right now if you're looking to make a big step like I was able to do at the beginning of this year, or if it's just for a great present for any holiday for a loved one. A custom ring also means a custom budget. It doesn't mean that you are going to have to be hit some exorbitant amount and change the jewelry game forever. You can go to Hal and get the most bang for your buck, which is what I was able to do, and get something beautiful and custom and specific to you and your loved one, because Hal has the connections to make that whole process cheaper for them, so it's cheaper for you. There are no middlemen in this process. Hal has his connections all throughout the diamond business. I know, he told me, where the diamond was coming from and how the ring was getting made and what to do with the little black diamonds that are surrounding it on Renee's ring, and I'm just thrilled with it. It genuinely fills me with so much joy to talk about and get to show off the ring, and the process with Ruback really made it an incredible time. Something that I'm really just tickled by, and that has admittedly helped keep things a little bit more in perspective over the course of this show today, over the course of this season, and where everybody lands right now. So please, if you are considering getting a piece of jewelry, if it's an engagement ring or if it's a present for Valentine's Day or something for any loved one in your life, anniversaries, weddings, engagements, holiday gifts, birthdays, Valentine's Day, anytime you have any reason for anything to celebrate, Ruback is the place to go. You can call him now, talk to Hal, let him answer your questions. least do that. If you trust me at all, let Hal answer your questions and see what he can help you build. And I just truly believe in my heart you'll have a wonderful experience with Ruback. If you want to get more information, you can go to www.ruback.co. That's ruback.co. They're by appointment, and the Ruback showroom is in the U.S. Bank building on 95th between Knoll and Rowe. They've been in this community for over 100 years. They're family-owned. It's a small business that will really build a relationship with you. They did that for me and Renee. And I am deeply thankful for that and so glad that they hopped on board for the postgame show in this postseason so I could tell you about them because they really did some incredible work for Renee and I. So on that note, Beards, you can hit the music, so I want to give everybody at least the fourth quarter here of the NFC Championship game. Apologies for letting this show run a little longer. We had a lot to talk about, and here's what I would like to kind of sign off with here today. We've got a large, wide variety of takeaways from people who have called in. We've got fire Andy Reid and fire Steve Spagnuolo and Patrick Mahomes is a shrinking violet. Is that the term? It's a little retooling in the offseason. Maybe it's an overhaul. Maybe I am furious. Maybe I am depressed. Maybe I feel okay. We've gotten a huge variety of feelings just in the people we were able to take the calls from today. I know Twitter and the chats and Chiefs Kingdom altogether is feeling a lot of those feelings today. I would like to offer that right now, your feelings as a fan, in all likelihood, are valid, reasonable. If not reasonable, something that comes with the term fanatic and being fanatical today. I will go ahead and take the lead of a few of our callers we've heard from recently. Being the absolute top of the food chain in a conference is a difficult place for a football team to be. Also, this loss today was embarrassing for the Chiefs. And frustrating for you, and very reasonable for it to be. I also believe we are lucky to watch this football team every week, just as I believe we watch a truly miserable effort to end this season. But with it all together, I hope that we do have some perspective about life generally being a pretty wonderful thing, even when the football team lets you down in a big moment. The NFC Championship game is next. Thank you very much for all of the time here on this year's Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Very grateful for that. We'll talk to you next year.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of